All right, that's how you do your wheel alignment at home. All right, I already got string set up. It's a couple different ways you could do this, but I'm gonna show you all the string method today and why I'm not doing the other method. So the method that I'm not doing is when you take the tape measure. You need the tape measure for either one. Take the tape measure, you find a nice piece of tread on your tire that's straight. You see I don't have any lines that's straight because I got the snow tires on. Okay, so this wouldn't work for me. I tried it. I tried going like right there on that one because it's kind of straight, right? But it wouldn't work for me. Okay, so what you would do is you take your tape measure and you put it on there, right? You measure all the way over to the other side on the exact same tire, right? And the exact same tread mark, right? Which will be like that one right there. Okay, at the top. All right, and then what you would do again is on the back side of the tire, you do the same thing. Measure it from both sides. Let's just say, I don't know, it was 67 inches in the front and 67 and a quarter inches in the back. All right, that means that's now you know how much out of adjustment it is. Okay, what I'm doing here is the string method. So you get you a string, whatever kind of string you got. This is what I had in my garage, this kind of string here. Whatever string you got, you're gonna stretch from the front to the back. I tied it around the jack stands. They're the exact same height on each side. You want it to be about the middle of the wheel. All right, and then there's a couple different ways, but all right, you want to measure from the center cap, center of the hubcap. It's about an inch and a half. Okay, I'm gonna go to the back and I'll measure it again. It's about an inch and a half. All right, now mine is already set up perfectly. You'll have to move the jack stands in and out and adjust them until they become perfect like that. You know, if you're like a 16th off or something, that's not bad. You don't want to be like an 1/8 off. That's pretty bad. Okay, so we're about the same right here, kind of like almost a 16th off from the inch and a half. All right, and come up about a 16th off, right? So I could go out a little bit. I could bring this one out a little bit. See how we're a lot closer now? So we're like less than a 16th off, about a 16th off. Fine with that, all right? Then what you wanna do in the front is, and if you wanna get even more technical on the back, just to notice you're very parallel, is that you can measure from this side of the rim to this side of the rim. And this was off a little bit. I think I need to adjust the back, which is a whole different story. None of you guys are really gonna adjust your back. So to adjust the front, you see the wheel? You wanna measure this side and this side, okay? So I already did mine, so it should be pretty perfect or slightly off, but I'll explain. So we're close to a 1/4 inch, or we're close to a 1/2 inch, right? Or like a 16th off from a 1/2 inch. And here we are at a 1/2 inch. So this one's a 16th off. I didn't adjust it anymore because it's so, I test drove it and everything already. It's so close to being perfect that I'm like, it's not worth me messing with it again. But on Audi, this is a 08, this is a 05 Audi A8, 2005 Audi A8. Our tie rods are up top right here. Most cars, y'all tie rod is gonna be like behind the wheel right here or in the front, depending on your model, right? And the other main thing I should have said first when we first started, you want to get 2 pieces of cardboard, okay? Put one down and put the other one on top of it. That way your wheel can swivel, all right? You can turn it back and forth. All right, same thing on both sides. You want to drive on top of both of these. You don't want to jack the car up and then set it down. You want to drive in on top of them, because if you jack the car up and then put these down, then set the car down on top of the cardboard, your wheel is already going to be at like an angle from you lifting the car up, you know, because your suspension doesn't have that weight on it anymore of the car, you know. So you want to drive in on top of it. All right, that's what you want to do with that. That's why you want to do it. This is very important. If you don't do this, if you don't have some type of cardboard or something under it that allows it to swivel, you're gonna have to. You can still do this. You just take your measurements as soon as you feel like it's good and right. You'll back the car out. You'll turn your wheels back and forth. You'll pull forward. You'll back up again. You'll pull forward. Basically, you're trying to get your wheels to level back out again. All right? Because if you can't get to yours right here like this anyways, you're going to have to jack your car up, or you're going to have to turn your wheel all the way out in order for you to get to your locking nut. This is your locking nut. Okay? So you'll break this free. Right? And you want to put something on the outer tie rod. They always have like a spot like right here. See that flat spot for you to put a wrench on, vice grips, whatever. Hold this, break this free. That way that your joint is not binding. Once you break this free, there's also a bolt space here for you to put the wrench on. This is your inner tie rod. This is your outer tie rod. You're going to be able to spin your inner tie rod and make the adjustment. So let's say that, right, so I'm like a 16th off right over here. So I'm a 16th away from a 1/4 inch. Okay, this one is a perfect 1/4 inch. So let's say this wheel, the side of this wheel needs to go in. Okay, the back part of the wheel needs to toe that way. Okay, basically that means the front needs to toe out. We need the front to toe out. We need this part to go in. So that means I need the outer tie rod basically to be pulled inwards, right? Because this is what connects to your spindle, your outer tie rod. This needs to be pulled inward. All right, so I would, boom, loosen this bolt, lefty-loosey, right? Now for this is gonna be the opposite way. So break this bolt loose, lefty-loosey. Now in order for the wheel to go in, for the tie rod, the outer tie rod to go in, basically think of it as you need to tighten the outer tie rod. Let's imagine it's not connected here, it's disconnected, and you can just twist the outer tie rod on, right? You would twist it that way, righty-tighty, right? So since you're twisting this that way, that means that the outer tie rod is gonna go the opposite direction. So for you to pull the tie rod in, after you break this free, you wanna turn the inner tie rod that way, okay? And that's gonna pull the wheel in, all right? Now for a 16th like me, something really small, I'll probably do like a half turn, maybe a full turn, all right? Now, if you're like crazy off, if you're like a 1/4 inch off, you know, 2 3/8 off or whatever, right? Then you're gonna have to turn it more. And the other thing is that you want to make sure your wheel is as straight as possible. Not even straight as possible. You want to make sure your wheel is straight. Now, for whatever reason, I couldn't lock my steering wheel. I've seen people put the seat belt through the steering wheel, buckle it in, but the way that my steering wheel is made, it curved around here, and it was just pulling the steering wheel this way. So every time I adjusted it, I came back, I made sure it was straight. If it wasn't, you know, I'm able to twist it and turn it. All right, see, it's not locked right now. You see that? I can still turn it, right? All right, so this is why you want, you see how you're able to move it and it swivels on the cardboard? That's why you want to have the cardboard under there. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do that, okay? Make sure your steering wheel's straight. If it doesn't lock like mine, if you can't find a way to lock it in place, whatever. I've seen people use bungee cords. Get real creative, whatever. All right. After you adjust it, come back, make sure your steering wheel's straight. If it's not, adjust it again. Take your measurements again. Keep taking your measurements until you get it right, pretty much. And you come to the other side and you do the exact same thing. All right? That's how you do your wheel alignment. Hope that helped.